You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
We're going to be talking live in the studio now to Ken Rowles, and he's going to be telling us all about how he's making a film all about the SS Richard Montgomery. Firstly, Ken, as always, it's great to have you here at the studio.
Thank you, Daniel. It's smashing to be back here at BRFM up on the hill here.
Now, of course, we know you as the director of the film festival, Ken, probably mostly.
Yes, because I've been involved now for 5 years in with a group of other people in setting up the Swale Film Festival, and we'll be hearing a bit more about that before I finish. And there's another film festival this year.
So what is your interest in filmmaking then, Ken?
Well, when I left school, I was very lucky. When you think of some of the people taking media studies today, I left school at 15 and got my first job in a film studio in London. And within a year, I was offered a job as training as an editor, assistant editor first of all, working lots of documentaries. I was fortunate enough to work on the documentary about the life of Sterling Moss, the racing driver, just after he had a major crash. And then I edited 10 years, and then in the early 70s was given an opportunity to produce my first film, which was a feature film. So I've been in films for a long time. There's a lot of time out of work with looking for the next job, which is the problem about being freelance in the entertainment business.
Ken, why are you making the film all about the SS Richard Montgomery?
Well, we all, over the years, have seen television news programmes saying about the problems of the Montgomery with the bombs on board, and the fact is it went down in 1944, and half the cargo was taken off, and much half of it is still sitting there today. In 2002, a friend of mine said, had I ever considered making a film about the Montgomery? And I said, well, it's a subject I hadn't investigated, hadn't done any research on it, so set about talking to other people who had much knowledge about the Montgomery than I had, and got together with Simon Ward, the actor, who did my voiceover for a pilot film, a 12-minute pilot film about the Montgomery. I went out in a launch working closely with Medway Ports and interviewed people within Sheerness about what they felt about the Montgomery, and most people said, well, it's been here 50 years, we're not very worried about it. It's we're most sure that it's all sunk well and truly into the sand, and nothing's happened so far. Well, as I said, I made this 12-minute pilot with the idea of marketing it to one of the major stations, History Channel or Discovery Channel in America, because Liberty ships are American. They were built in America in the early Second World War, in the 40s, and was a design which was originated from a design that Churchill had taken over to Roosevelt and showed him, and along their plans that they'd had on, because we had to bring, the Americans were building mostly armament and weapons to bring here for the needs of the first with just the British Army and before the Americans entered the war. And they built, I think it was 2,000 of these Liberty ships. And the Richard Montgomery was just one of them, which came over with a convoy in 1944. And I'm sure most of your audience will know the history of it, but it was put in the wrong place off the coast of Sheerness, just a few miles from Sheerness, and it went onto a sandbank and split its back, and the half the armament was taken off. And as I said, we made this pilot. It sat on a 12-minute film, sat on the shelf, and I didn't. I wanted to make a full-length documentary, a 60-minute documentary, but couldn't get the funding at that time. And then along comes somebody, our mayor, who wants to build an island with an airport 7 miles off Sheerness. And of course a lot of interest came along, and then we had a situation where I, for one, said, how can you put an airport off the coast of Sheerness with a ship with all these bombs on?
And I understand, actually, that happening, you've then got interest from American broadcasters, Ken.
Yes, we are at the moment discussing with both DVD companies in America for marketing the 60-minute version, but we're also talking to other broadcasters who are very interested in the outcome of whether our government, today's government, is going to bring the ship up. Well, that we don't think can happen. There are people who say that, yes, you could just bring it up. We've got a bomb disposal, Mike Barker, who has a lot of information. He has Mike Barker, MBE, who has been badgering, I would use that word, but more than that, the government to make a decision now because of the deterioration. In my 12-minute film, the captain at ports who overlook the estuary with the shipping that goes past the Montgomery, he actually said in 2002, in 10 years' time, we've got to do something about it because the ship is just deteriorating. And although we're checking with sonar, the MCA do checks on it every 18 months, and they have themselves admitted that it hasn't deteriorated to a danger point, but they must keep their eyes on it. And Mike Barker is now, saying to government, come on, we've got to make a decision. There are ways that it could be made safe.
Now, Ken, making this film, obviously you must come across a lot of information and hear people talking about it. So do you think the wreck is a danger?
Well, there's a lot of historians here which have lived close to the Montgomery. One is David Hughes, who I work with my scripting, and Colin Harvey, who has made a film about it along with my one, and we've joined together. Colin is a historian advisor, and is actually working with me on the project that the wreck that we're working on now. And when it comes to danger, well, we've been assured, and when I was working and filming in 2002, the then MP, Derek Wyatt, made questions in the House Commons, of what was being done and what had been done, and was the government aware, the then present government, were they aware of what was in the estuary with Montgomery, and wanted a bit more detailed information about what the MCA is the body that is responsible for the wrecks. The MCA send sonar professional people who monitor the ship every 18 months. And I think they're monitoring the ship more recently now. And in the last few months, I've been talking to our present MP, Gordon Henderson, and there is a period of the last 3 months where divers have gone down and looked a bit more closely. If you see the documentary I made, you will see that the water's very murky down there. There's not much you can see. In fact, you can just about see your hand if you hold it out. And that's why they do examinations with sonar equipment. And it's all on websites. You can see it's quite free. If you go in SS Montgomery on your Google it, you will see what's been going on, and even what Ron Angel, who's an expert as well, who's been studying the Montgomery for the last 20 years, he's got his website there, and you'll see the background. And you've asked me, is the wreck dangerous? We think something should be done about it. We want the government to look further into, with the experts, with bomb disposal experts like Mike, and there's also Mike Fallows as well, who recently was in a programme on Meridian, who asked what can be done, and are the government looking into this as they should be doing. And it's only in the last few weeks that we've heard that Mike Barker MBE, who I was saying, who was involved with bomb disposal in Northern Ireland, and that's where he got his MBE, he has got to a stage where he has asked for a freedom of information, which any person who's got a concern can ask to check what is the government doing about it. And we believe that these decisions are being looked into right now as we talk, and within the next few weeks we should be getting a bit further forward of knowing what the government is actually doing.
So why do you think it has taken 69 years to sort of, it's still going on really, and to try and do something about it?
I think there are many people who had the view that when she went down, and they managed, as I said before, to get half the cargo off, that the bombs would sink into the sand, and that over the years they would disintegrate, and there wouldn't be. And if you asked anybody on the island or even over at Southend who had it, they are confident that, we've been okay for 69 years, so why should we be worried now? And in my end of my programme I made before, it was the person who is responsible for the Montgomery who did say that he felt that the government should, over the next 10 years, come up with some plan to make the Montgomery safe. Now, how we make it safe, even if you sent divers down there today, it's a big decision for any government, whatever government you've got, to say, we will do that. And you've got to look at, do you evacuate people from the island? And what radius do you do? Do you evacuate people from Southend and parts of Essex? Do you evacuate people from the Medway towns? It's a very big subject for anybody to give a green light to and make a decision. And I think that is why it's taken 69 years for any decision to make. But we have got, I think it's an urgent for people who live here to ask the government and say, is the wreck safe? And if not, we want some answers.
And Ken, do you think it has only become of interest due to the airport being talked about off of the coast?
Well, as I've previously said, I can't personally see anybody allowing an airport to be built in the estuary without clearing the Montgomery. We held a public meeting in the Medway towns where we had several Medway local politicians saying what they felt about the airport, and as you probably read, everybody knows that Medway and Sheerness don't want an airport in the estuary. There's plenty of other opportunities to build an airport, but yes, it has created more interest for the Montgomery. Before I had the public meeting in Chatham, I did have a interview with BBC South East, and they asked me what I felt was the situation about the Montgomery, and at that time I said, well, we know that if a ship went in to the Montgomery, it could cause an explosion. That's why we've got danger buoys all round it, and to have planes landing, you'd only want a plane to land on it with, it's bad enough having a plane land in this estuary, but to have it with the Montgomery there is just another hazard, and we don't want more hazards than we've already got. And the cost of building the airport is, spend that money on making the Montgomery safe. That's what I say. And there are solutions that have been put up by many scientists and professionals. There's a Dutch company that say that they are capable of putting a cocoon around the Montgomery. There are other people who say that you can take the bombs off safely. In fact, Mike Barker has said that he could send divers down with a mini submarine and take some of the weapons off. So there's various solutions, but only a government can make a decision on what is going to happen.
Now, Ken, I understand that you will be filming one of the Liberty ships that's set afloat.
Yes, there's only two that exist. All the other Liberty ships are either way down below or they've been sold off and have now been used as museums or sections. But out of all those thousands of Liberty ships that were built, there's two, and the one that is a museum ship, which actually visited 20 years ago the estuary, the Thames, came and sailed by it, is the SS Jeremiah O'Brien, and that is now in San Francisco, and I've been invited over to film on board and actually see what a Liberty ship looks like today. And we would be, if there's still veterans who worked on the building of Liberty ships or have actually maybe sailed across on the Montgomery or the O'Brien, I will be interviewing them and finding out a little bit more about their stories that they will tell, which will help build up an insight into the Liberty ships generally. These ships sailed across in convoy, and there must be many stories that can be told. So I will be going over before the film is obviously completed and getting as much material as I can from the O'Brien and the background and history of the building of these Liberty ships.
So, Ken, when are you hoping we'll be able to see the new film?
Well, if a lot of it has got a lot to do with decisions that are made. As I said, in 2002, we were told that something should be done about the Montgomery. Here we are in 2013, and I think if I could get the film, the 60-minute film, completed before the end of the year, and it's available to the BBC or one of the commercial television stations, let's hope that we would see it perhaps as a Christmas edition. But it's watched this space. I think in the coming months a lot more information. I don't want to film something that isn't totally facts of where we are today. We may not know about an airport, whether we're going to have a estuary airport for 2-3 years. But everybody wants to know what they're doing about the Montgomery, and therefore the film must be made, and the film must give everybody, especially the Americans who believe that the Montgomery was raised, and all the ammunition was made safe in 1947. We've proved that that is not the case, although there are letters that have said that the Montgomery was raised in 47, and it's not down there anymore. We all know you've only got to look out at sea and see the ships. It is still there, visible to people, and anybody going out in a boat, you can go quite close to it. So it's definitely there. There's no it's not a ghost ship. It's for real. The Montgomery is just sitting off the coast of Sheppey. So I hope we will see, as I said, either in the end of the year or in the new year.
But as I said at the beginning, of course, many of you know Ken from the Swale Film Festival, so I thought I would ask you, will we see another Swale Film Festival, Ken?
We are developing one right at this very moment. We've already put a website up for the Film Awards. We have regularly, in the 4 festivals in the past, we've had the awards for youngsters to make their own films, and we've done this with another group, and it's now called the Kent Film Festival. And as I said, there's a website for that, which is www.Kent Film Awards. I'll get that right there. It's the Kent Film Awards .org UK, and that only went up last week. But we have got the film festival, which will be held in September, as per normal, Faversham, Sittingbourne, and here on the island, where we'll be showing a great selection of films, and that is from the 5th of September through to the 8th of September, with different screenings at here, as I said, on the island, and at the Avenue Theatre in Sittingbourne, and Creek Creative in Faversham. And we're also having an exhibition of the past cinemas, the cinemas that we used to have. We've got community cinema here on the island, but there's also still the old the cinema, the Royal over at Faversham. But each town had, in fact, I think we have 5 cinemas here on the island at various times, and now we've just got the Blue Town Community Heritage Centre. So, Ken, before you go, was there any other useful contact details you wanted to cover for our listeners? Yes, I've given you the one we've made a few mistakes on for the Film Awards, but anybody who wants to contact me, I'm the company that is making the film about the Montgomery is Action Plus Media, and you can contact Action Plus Media. It's the email address is actionplusmedia@yahoo.co.uk, and any questions you've got to ask about what we're doing on the film, I'd be welcome to read them. And then we've got, if you wanted to see the film we made, the 12-minute, that is on my web page, which is afloattv.com. And it's a web program about the TV web program about sailing in the southeast, of which the Montgomery we featured as one of the episodes. But the film is also, if anybody wanted to see, there's the on a DVD, It's part of the programme The Wreck that Colin Harvey has made, which there are copies available here. And I'm most sure if you went into your local library or if you email me, we can tell you where to get a copy of that. And I hope you'll have a DVD in the near future or see The Wreck on television in the new year.
Well, Ken, I'd like to thank you very much for coming along and telling us all about the film you're making. Of course, some of the useful history and information you found out along the way as well.
Thank you, Daniel, for inviting me. And in the coming months, we'll keep you up to date with the progress of the film.
So that's Ken Rowles here at BRFM. We've been talking all about how he's been making a film all about the SS Richard Montgomery right here at BRFM 95.6